Well, my guest today needs no introduction. Conrad Black, he has been following conservative politics and practicing conservative politics and journalism for more than 50 years on both sides of the Atlantic. We're lucky to have him in the studio today for a quick catch-up. Great to see you again. This is an exciting conservative leadership race. I think I can say that, especially in the contrast to the two previous ones. I'm talking about the Canadian Conservative Party. What do you think?
I think it's quite a good group of candidates. I think we were all, including some non-conservatives, disappointed that some of the prominent possible contenders didn't appear in the last two leadership conventions. They just didn't run, and so you got the impression they weren't necessarily, with no disrespect to the people who did run, putting their best people forward. I mean, many people wanted Jean Charest to run earlier. Many wanted John Baird to run. Many wanted Jason Kenney, though it was kind of impractical given how recently he'd gone back to Alberta. But I think that all of these candidates are quite articulate, and I think there's a bit of variation between all of them. They're not just echoing each other. And I think it's been reasonably civil. Not, not a lot of mudslinging or that kind of thing. There's been a bit of it, but not much. And different approaches to it. I mean, Patrick Brown, as anyone who follows it knows, is extremely adept at signing up huge numbers of people amongst certain ethnic groups. And he's really making a drive to get his people in as members capable of voting, and I wouldn't underestimate what he can do. Jean Charest is a remarkably experienced man, a former leader of the Federal Party, three-term premier of Quebec with the Liberal Party of Quebec, which in Quebec, as in British Columbia, as you know, is really a coalition of Liberals and Conservatives. There isn't a Conservative Party provincially in that province. And so he's a well-traveled man without being a worn-out old spavined wheelhorse, and of course Pierre Poilievre is an exceptionally fine candidate. He's very articulate. I think he is clearly presenting a genuine conservative viewpoint. They try to misrepresent him as an extremist, which he isn't. He replies that he is only advocating the liberty of everyone to do as much as they can without infringing on the liberty of others. And it's very hard to fight that, as it should be. I thought it was a terrible thing when Andrew Scheer, who was a good man but was not a strong campaigner, ran unabashedly as a genuine social conservative, and they smeared him as someone who would ban abortion and things like this. And he wasn't really able to stand up to that. But I find Pierre is... I don't, no disrespect to Andrew Scheer, but he's made of firmer stuff in this way, and he does respond very forcefully to his critics, and I think it's working.
Yeah, I heard him just the other night, Pierre Poilievre, and I would call it a working class conservatism, and there is such a thing, especially when you look at the new Democratic Party led by Jagmeet Singh, a clothes horse who drives a BMW and who's exquisite and cares more about elite, university politics.
An exotic Maharaja.
You know what? I mean, there's no working class leader in Ottawa,
and certainly it isn't Justin. No, and it's working class and middle class, I would say, manages both. But you're right; he's not a kind of aristocratic conservative.
And so I see the elite establishments just smashing him. But I think that's working for him. When the Globe and Mail editorial page denounces him as dangerous, I think a lot of people say, "Oh, good, I want to be a bit of a danger to the Globe and Mail editorial page."
It's a better description of the Globe and Mail. Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned there's not too much brutal, smears
there is some, but it's not as bad as it is sometimes.
I don't think it's bad at all, because I think it's real. I think if there was a false agreeableness, I like the clash of ideas. Let the party have a stark choice. Let the party have a real choice, and let it choose a flavor, not a blend. Yeah,
no, I agree. Look, the Conservatives historically, since 1917, more than a century, and I cite that year because it was that year that effectively the Conservative government imposed conscription on the French Canadians, and so they could kiss Quebec goodbye for a long time after that, as Sir Wilfrid Laurier said would happen. But from then on, the Conservatives only have won either because after 3 or 4, even 5 Liberal victories, the electorate of this country traditionally thinks we simply have to give the other side a chance, or in the alternative, where they can present a conservative viewpoint and defend it from the inevitable avalanche of media and academic opinion reinforcing partisan opinion that this is harsh and extreme and un-Canadian. And you know, you had the Liberals for almost all of the 20s, and one term with Bennett. The Liberals 22 years, pardon me, and then 6 years with Mr. Diefenbaker. The Liberals, except for a few months with Joe Clark, another 21 years, and then Brian Mulroney came. But you know, that if we're going to have a two-party system, we've got to change that. You've got to start out most elections with the idea that either side can come to bat, as they do in the United States and Britain.
Yeah. I guess we're almost 7 years into Trudeau. With that passage of time, what are your thoughts from a distance of Stephen Harper's term as Prime Minister? Do you think he looks better now that time has passed?
Yes. And I thought he was a good Prime Minister.
Me too.
I had serious personal differences with him, and our own relations don't exist, and they wouldn't be cordial if they did exist. But that's for other reasons. I always have said, and wrote in my history of Canada, I never allow these personal things to get in the way of a judgment of that kind, that he was a very good Prime Minister. And by the way, I had extremely profound disagreement, and a rather acidulous one, with Jean Chrétien, but I think he was a adequately competent Prime Minister. I don't think he was exceptionally good. And it's always easy.
He's a manager. He put out fires. He didn't start them.
This is right, and it's not hard when the official opposition is divided into three parties. But with that said, it was a competent government, other than that they almost lost us the second referendum. But as I say, whatever I might think of the individual Prime Minister, is completely separate from my historical examination of how they performed. I think Stephen Harper was in that second group, just behind our very best Prime Ministers. In the same group with Brian Mulroney, Mr. Saint Laurent, and Mr. Pearson, very distinguished people. So I agree with you. I think he was a very good Prime Minister.
That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more, and we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.